Is this supposed to be OGN?
Looks like it. A lot. Nearly every seat in the spectator area of the VSL studio is taken. It's only with a wave from Jet that Rev and I are ushered past the back rows and into our seats over on the side. Stunt is seated beside Jet and acknowledges us with a smile. With how differently the four of us are dressed, it'd be hard to tell for anyone to tell that we're actually a team. Well, I guess technically we're not on a team yet. Not officially anyway. With the thought on my mind, I look to Jet and keep my voice low. Do we have a uniform plan?
Oh, hell yeah! I want a team jacket!
The uniform we picked out of the team's war chest, it's stupid.
What?
We pick out comes out of this team war chest. It's stupid for us to splurge and we don't have any results.
Stunt's longing stare doesn't fade away until Jet focuses a glare in his direction. The production crew are busy at work behind the scenes, so there's way more VSL staff members than the stream lets on. People with clipboards and headsets pace the studio frantically, moving from team benches to behind the booths and then back again. Excel sits on the end of the bench with the rest of Crash. Their coach, a balding man with small eyes, a red nose, and a clip on his tie, paces back and forth with his hands in the pockets of his blazer. Most coaches are...
Oh shit, I got only 2 days to retirement. They better win this fucking game.
Most coaches are usually retired players or have management experience. This guy's got either the latter or nothing. It wouldn't surprise me that he's never played a game of StarCraft in his life. The players of Team Kaine sit on the opposite side of the studio. Their coaches are far more subdued than the one I actually recognize. An old B-tier Brood War pro that aged out of his ability to compete. Whoa, shit, man.
Wow, this music.
Fuck.
Stun leaves over to Jet to whisper something before he can open his mouth. The Victory Star League's team cuts in to announce that the broadcast is about to get started.
That was well timed. He just did the thing, did exactly what he was intending to.
Korean Star Leagues have a weird fascination with alt rock. The same songs my embarrassing freshman year playlist blast unabashedly to the stadiums of esports fans.
Yeah.
The crowd's cheer die down only once the commentators their introductions. While I look over my shoulders, I can see the table where they keep the two English casters. The duo is loved more for their laid-back banner than the game analysis. Not that it's anything I'd change. I wonder who these two are, Kappa.
Well, who knows?
Kappa. There's no way for me to hear
Kappa.
them without getting a headpiece that'll make me look a tourist. I'll have to settle for the Korean commentators. Welcome to the VSTL. Today's first match is an exciting duel between Crash and Kaine.
Is Tommy just a caster?
I mean, like,
is he...
Welcome to the VSTL.
I'll let you two be the Billy, your caster, Gekka, your commentator.
Oh shit, yeah, here we go.
Alright, go for it.
Ah, both are very solid. Wait, nope. We got back to XL. Oh god. Ah, both are very solid teams that I have been around from the beginning of the StarCraft 2. I'm eager to see whether they show us good games. Who's the analyst?
Wait, is
This is the furthest that Kaine has been since the beginning of our StarCraft 2 team league. Crash will need to make it to VSTL finals if they wish to share that accomplishment.
Indeed, they have a challenging path ahead of them, but I am certain that they are capable of returning to their former glory.
Like my rockin' cock.
Rocket God.
Fucking hell.
My thoughts are
Yeah,
very
I
the
miss
same.
Rocket
Only
Cock.
one of Kaine's players remains in the VSL, so they should have had plenty of time to practice for this match. Can the same be said for Crash?
Certainly so. Crash's lineup is well tested and proven in the
fucking
VSL.
music is so loud. 1 second.
It's a sure bet that they have not neglected to prepare accordingly. Well, there won't be any jokes about cartoons from the 90s, but I should stay pretty well informed throughout the series. An array of multicolored overhead lights announce the first match. Polished motion graphics and meticulously collected player statistics squeeze around the display at the front of the studio. The VSL studio really has hype building down to a science. Who do you think Crash is going to send out first, Jet?
Not Excel, unless they want him getting sniped right off the bat.
I nod. A common strategy in Team League is to have a mid-tier player spend all of his practice time preparing specifically for one heavy hitter. There are other things to take into account too, like the map or the remaining opponents. But there's no doubt that Team Kaine has one of their players ready to take down Excel. By the time I glance up at the stage, the first two players are headed to the booths. Excel remains on the bench, eyes set on the same screen as the crowd. It is starting.
It is starting.
It has begun!
Sure enough, once the players have...
Oh, the
their-
music's gone.
and
Woo.
not me, Kappa. Once the players have their settings prepared...
Is he like watching Fiddler on the Roof or something? Like,
I don't
seriously.
know anymore.
Poor Tommy, though, man.
Tommy, it's only been a week
I know.
and you're already wanting to kill yourself.
not myself necessarily. Once the players have their settings prepared and the coaches give the go-ahead, the match begins. Spawning in at the 7 o'clock position for Team Crash is the red Protoss player Jangel.
I feel like this should have been one of the casters.
I mean, yeah, probably. His opponent from Team Kaine at the 2 o'clock base is Xing. Protoss beat Protoss close positions. This match won't last long.
Mirror matchups are so stupid. PvP most of all.
You don't know the intricacies!
Can you only imagine
This is
like
really
some like fucking 14-year-old shit sitting in front of someone at like OGN, just like,
You don't know the intricacies!
that loud.
It gets really intense!
Literally every strategy is a coin flip. PvP should be considered gambling and made illegal.
Fuck.
PvP usually ends with both players on one base. The decision to
Is
expand
gambling
is
legal?
often
It has
too
to be.
great of a risk, especially with the players as close as they are. More so than in any other matchup, mind games are essential to securing an advantage. Reach too far with aggression against a balanced strategy, you lose. Go middle of the road against a tech build, you lose. Tech up against an attack, you lose. And now, analyst. Yeah, Jang Ellich. Yeah, Jang Ellich. No shit. What voice is that?
It's gone.
Jangel and Xing have both opted for a forward gate strategy.
Prepare to watch these two.
I'm the caster.
Prepare to
yeah,
watch
I'm the
these
commentator.
two clash. It will all come down to their control.
Or that can happen too. When Jet's grumbling, Stunt looks like he's enjoying himself. After all, this is the type of game he loves. Revel's paying attention, though only likely only to note the inefficiencies of Crash and Kaine. Both of the Protoss players complete the buildings necessary for their attack simultaneously, but it's the Team Crash player who's out of the map first. A proxy pylon near Kaine's player's base will allow for perfect frontline reinforcements. Things would be going perfect for Crash, if not for one small problem. The attack was spotted. Rather than answer with his own attack, the Kaine player is holding all his units back at home, and he's hiding half of them in a small corner of his base. I realize what's happening just as the Crash player makes this move. Without proper intel on his opponent, he makes feints and a motion up at his opponent's ramp in the hopes of learning what he's up against. But the Kaine player doesn't even budge. No force field, no panic, chrono boost, nothing. No defense at all. After a moment's hesitation, the Crash player charges up the ramp fully confident he's caught the opponent in a moment of weakness. For a moment it looks like it was the right move. He heads forward to disable the Kaine infrastructure. And then as his exit cut off, the Kaine player reveals his hidden units and surges into Crash's force. Even though the battle begins with 2 players at an even unit count, the force field preventing the Crash's player from retreating also keeps its reinforcements for joining with his main army. Despite some excellent unit control, the dwindling Crash army is devoured by the ambush. Jangel taps out a GG and the first game goes to Kaine.
An exceptional trap set by Shane. The key was the position of his rockin' cock.
Allowed the Crash player to catch sight of a single gateway, which led him to believe that there was a hidden tech at the back of his base. Excellent tactical thinking. Gagger.
Indeed, it would have been too risky to find out with certainty what was coming next. He had to act. He should have cleared the path to his opponent's base before showing his units. Beautiful! Absolutely beautiful!
Is this worse than aerodynamics, girl? Tell me.
Billy, I don't want to think about that anymore.
That could not have been more stupid. This is what happens in a matchup where scouting past 3-minute mark is impossible.
You gotta just do one line for Billy. Just do it, please. Just one line,
What?
It's happening.
please.
Maybe if I get another
Billy,
character.
please.
Kaine is
Okay.
fortunate that Jangel hesitated. As had he disabled the forward gateway in time, Crash would have been victorious. I aim my attention back at the Crash bench to see who they're setting on next. Excel turns his back and whispers to one of his teammates, and he starts heading for the boot.
Oh, sorry.
Finally, some ZVP. You better hope Xing's all in aren't as pitiful as yours, stun.
2 minutes later, the Crash Zerg stands cross-map with the Kaine player. Match opens up slowly, but a sudden greedy opening from the Kaine Protoss elicits a call for attention from the commentators.
Yeah, how bold. This map does not lend itself to a Nexus first, yet he has planted one down without a pause.
And it seems that it will be going unpunished. With one victory already, it seems that Kaine decided now was an appropriate time to take a risk.
This spells bad news for Crash. With the Protoss economy established so quickly, Zerg will struggle to survive his powerful mid-game attacks.
The commentator's warning shows itself to be a well-informed one. The Crash player realizes his disadvantaged position too late. From inside the booth, he looks visibly shaken. Shing marches across the map at the 8-minute mark with an absurd number of blink stalkers, not bothering to clear the watchtower on the way over. His unscouted forward pylon allows him to power forward unchecked. Crash's Zerg clumsy defense is painful to watch. The game was decided by the 2-minute mark, even if the Protoss took another 7 to play it out.
That was embarrassing.
Never preferred all-in style, but I admit it has its merits.
A sudden realization that the 3 of the 4 of us are on camera puts our conversation on pause. The VSL loves to show foreigners and girls in the breaks between games on stream for whatever reason. Reva shields her face and glances away while I wave and watch myself on screen with an undeniably awkward expression. The cameraman makes the mistake of panning past us to focus solely on Jet. Not a second later, the screen switches. The scene switches.
Like
back
the
to
jump
Jet.
scare sound.
I know.
What kind of idiot doesn't drone scout? He went full first. It was an easy, slow link rally for the win.
Map lends itself to a typical Zerg playstyle. He mistakenly believed that if he could defend an early rush from Protoss, he would have an advantage going into the mid-game.
I can already taste an extra large.
Bibba-bang.
What?
Bibba-bang.
Bim
Bim.
bim bap.
Bib and Bamp. Fuck it.
Bim bim
Bibba-bang.
bap.
Quiet.
I'll
Zero
take.
2 is impossible to come back from. Faggot.
But Jet's confidence
Fuck
falters
you.
a minute later into the third game. The Kaine Protoss immediately sends forward probe cross map intent on deciding the game with an early rush. Billy, you're
Billy.
God, fuck, I just...
Scout around your natural, moron. It takes 2 seconds.
And if he has
God
somehow
damn it.
heard the order through his booze soundproof foam, the Krasler catches sight of the proxy gateways just as they finish constructing.
A moment later, the game would have been decided. How will the Sturg react to my rockin' cock?
He responds by throwing down static defense in his main. A good option since a pair of stationary spine crawlers are too strong to contest with just a few zealots. The hatchery finishes despite the Protoss effort to force a cancel. It looks like Crash is going to stabilize here, or would if not for.
No, what are you doing? Stop.
Zerg, Jet takes 2 fistfuls of her own hair when the Zerg uproots a spine crawler and begins moving it forward down the ramp. The Protoss reaction is instant. Kaine rushes in to take a fight with the remaining static defense. Even with a handful of Zerglings and the Queen aiding, the spine crawler falls with only a single casualty for the Protoss. In an unmistakable blunder, he aimed to defend his natural expansion with the second spine crawler, but failed to wait until he had enough Zerglings. Such impatience is going to cost Crash the game and perhaps the series. With the free pickoff, it's not long until the Kaine player snowballs his lead into a victory. One of his teammates charges into the booth and claps his back a dozen times, both of them smiling through some banter. It's a stark difference from the Crash bench. All save Excel look ready to accept defeat. A calm look back at his coach and a nod, he rises to replace his fallen teammate. It seems that a Crash will send Excel as their final player. Will he be able to prevent the all kill from Shing? Hacker?
We must take into account Kaine's morale. The moment in the series certainly favors the fourth and final victory.
Excel, do not lose.
A few people seated in front of Jet wince at the volume of her cheer, turn around, stare, and then realize they are about to shush a VSL champion. By the time she's finished signing a phone case from one of them, Axel is in the booth and ready to go. Think he can bring it back, Reva? No single player on Kaine can match Excel. I find myself in agreement with that, but Reva's specific wording and lack of a conclusion leaves me wondering.
Good.
What could the final match of the day begins now? What could be the final match of the day begins now. Excel against Shing, who will emerge victorious? Excel looks at home in the booth. He shows the four of us, typo, a smile and a thumbs up just before the game loads in. Despite the dire position his team is in, Excel wastes no time in fighting back for control of the series. It flex the Kaine's players Pressure with a well-positioned Marine force at the top of his ramp, killing off a Zealot and scaring away a Stalker.
A vital maneuver. The Protoss now lacks the information on whether or not Excel is expanding. Like,
Oh, elite cover his options. Excel's Luke Banshee is nearly complete. Kaine player hesitates, then a second later throws down an expansion. Jet heaves a sigh of relief, confident that the game is decided.
Sorry. Classic Protoss move. Don't think, guess. Boom.
It's true that if Excel had been expanding, the Kaine player would have earned a slight edge. Instead, he's forced to watch helplessly as Excel's Banshee flies straight into his base and blasts his worker line to pieces. With a highly delayed and evidently begrudged GG from Kaine, Excel puts Crash on the board.
Ha! Salty that he didn't get his all kill.
Why did the Protoss leave so early? He could have at least gone for a base trade or something.
Are you kidding? Terrans have been base trades figured out for almost a year now. God, I wish my gateways could fly.
I guess, but there's no reason to throw in the towel so early. Even if he was going to lose, he could at least try to wear Excel out for the games to come. Excel could easily bring this back. Even with his team's first loss, the Kaine coach looks confident. He gestures for one of his youngest players, speaks to him for almost an entire minute, then sends him to the booth.
The Kaine coach sends an amateur to face Excel? He must have confidence in either his young talent or remaining two players.
We must assume he wants to give the young tyrant some experience. Certainly there is no other reason to send him against a strong contender as Excel.
Reva watches the Kaine coach impassively, never allowing her attention to leave him until the 5th game loads in.
Yeah! My rocket Kaine opens with a command center first.
It seems that the Kaine team has a strong preference to set the pace of the game and force their opponents to react. How will Excel respond?
Excel is going to scout and throw down his own CC. What else? Hell, I'll macro this kid anyway.
Reva answers Jet with a nod, though not in a way that makes her seem particularly pleased. As predicted, Excel's thorough scout discovers the Kaine command center early enough to stay in an economy-focused game. Even with the amateur Terran's slight advantage, Excel falls his way back onto even footing and then claims a lead when he catches a drop en route to his base. Crash fans roar a cheer when Excel charges his opponent's tank line in a way reminiscent of old Brood War mech battles. Old habits die hard. Even with the game all but decided, the Kaine Terran remains until Excel moves forward to destroy his base. Just before offering his GG, the Kaine amateur scans to reveal all of the Excel structures, as I thought. I wince as Jet belts out an earshot, and then turns to her. What do you mean? Kaine will send their Terran ace.
Not such a hard guess, really.
But even the previously confident Jet watches Kaine's bench now. Sure enough, their team's ace pulls himself to his feet, peels off his team jacket, and tosses it to the squealing fangirl. Did she just sniff it? I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. The Crash coach paces back and forth with his hands behind his back. His bench looks far more invested in the series than they did 2 games ago. What a treat! The highest level of Terran versus Terran is about to unfold before us.
I'm excited to see how Excel measures up. His TBT has always been his strongest matchup, just as strong as my rockin' cock.
Jet and Rebel watch restlessly as the game loads up. Even Stunt has stopped cheering against Crash. Kaine will go command center first. If Excel does not 2 racks, he will be at a disadvantage.
Are you from the future or something? What are these super specific predictions?
Shut up. Watch.
Excel opens with standard play and repeats the scout of his opponent's CC at a timing near identical to last game. Feigned bunker aggression provokes a brief panic in the Kaine ace, forcing him to pull a handful of SCVs to contest what could be a direct counter to his build. A good move, but it will not be enough. When the fake rush ends, the Kaine player throws his head back, heaves a sigh of relief and smiles. He begins teching aggressively, a dangerous option without scouting Excel.
Can you please explain what is going on? I already know what's happening before it happens.
The Kaine Ace used the amateur to beat out Excel's response to CCA first. This isn't something that would be possible if they weren't ahead by so many games.
They sent their best player to face Excel with full knowledge of his reaction, but Excel can adapt on the fly, right?
Easier said than done.
Sure enough, Excel's answer is the exact same as it was to the amateur before. Improvising is a rare skill for StarCraft players, even for someone as skilled and well-rounded as Excel. The Kaine player will build 2 starports behind his natural to avoid Excel's typical scan patterns. He will then clear out Excel's map vision with Hellions and then camp Excel's production with Banshees and Vikings.
This isn't over. Excel will scout the gas timing and might realize that something's off.
Strategy proves too specific for Excel to cover without scouting directly. The missile turret and his worker line won't protect his production structures. Excel's scan misses the mark by mere pixels. There's no chance he'll be prepared in time. With the center of the map clear, the Kaine Terran flies straight for Excel's base. Unbelievable. We rarely see such a unit composition, but this is the perfect answer in this scenario. The Vikings keeps away Excel's inferior air force at bay, while the Banshees pound Excel's structures and tanks without answer. An attempt to establish a missile turret defense costs Excel a ton of workers. Even though he eventually stabilizes, his army is less than half the size of the Kaine Ace. The game is over, yet Excel remains until the bitter end, training as cost efficiently with his inferior force as he can. It's only as once the Kaine Ace dances his unit back and forth that Excel finally taps out. A cheer from the Ace's fans announced the conclusion of the series, 4-2 Kaine.
Bum, bum, ba-dum, bow.
Luckily, Stunt has the sense not to gloat about the money he just won from Jet. The 4 of us sit in silence as we watch Excel agonize over his loss. While Kaine is huddled together with smiles and cheers, all have crashed sit together with their heads down and save Excel, who still hasn't left the booth. His coach looks furious. He barges in through the booth's back door and raves at Excel from behind his back. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Frustration is one thing, but Excel won 2 games before he went out. Even if he had gone down without a win, there's no reason to yell at him. How is that supposed to help? Just as my anger on Excel's behalf reaches the point that I think I have to say something to Jet, Excel rises from his seat and slides past his coach without so much a glance in his direction.
Should we talk to him?
Whoa.
What?
Press V, guys.
Press V?
Self-voicing enabled.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Come on.
Oh,
Self-voicing
Jesus, no.
disabled.
Just
No.
Nope.
No.
no.
Guys, don't
No.
be pussy.
No.
Oh, fuck you, Tommy.
Yeah, come on. The 3 Korean commentators are in the middle of winding down the series with post-match analysis when we rise and exit through the studio's back door.